All right. Happy Thursday night, watchers. I am author Siera London, and along with my co host, we are Women on Words. Hello, author Loren. How are you?
Hi.
Good. Well, so tonight is a special show because if you all remember, a couple of months ago, we had author Ashanti East online with us, and she talked about a program that she was involved with called Black Girl Tribe. And we were so excited, but she dropped the news on us at the end of the show. Okay. So we asked her to come back and tell us more about it. And not only did Ashanti go on to do that, but she actually invited the CEO of Black Girl Tribe to be on the show with us tonight. So I want to welcome Gabrielle Martinez to Women on Words.
Woo!
Hey, ladies.
Hey. Look, only thing I could
It's
hear
such
in
a
my ear when you
pleasure.
said that, Sarah, was I was
Uh-huh.
watching Babs yesterday. CEO, CEO.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. I love it. I love
Now I know
it.
what anybody is saying any other way. Now I just remember that. Now that's how I want to be introduced forever.
Oh
CEO,
my gosh. I love
CEO.
it.
Okay, so why don't we start by a brief introduction? And I know, Ashanti, you already have plans for how you want to introduce our CEO. So
Yes.
I'm going to let you go ahead with the introduction for Gabrielle before we get started with all our questions.
Awesome. Awesome. So, hi everybody. It's so nice to be back. And I'm just going to keep this really short and brief. My friend Gabrielle, I'll call her Gabby. She is one of my dearest friends, and she is one of the most passionate people I have ever met in my life. And when I say passionate, I mean she will go to war for Black girls. And that's why I am
Yeah.
so happy to be involved with her, with Tribe. And I'm just gonna let her take from here because, like I tell everybody, she could talk Tribe way better than I do because this is her baby. This is her everything. So take it away, Gabby.
I appreciate that, Jazz. Thank you so much. But we wouldn't do anything without you. So that's it. Hi,
Wow.
everybody. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity to come and talk tribe. Like Jazz says, it's my favorite thing to talk about. So again, you guys, my name is Gabby Martinez. You guys can just call me Gabby. The girls call me Miss Gabby, but y'all old enough. Um,
Okay.
You ain't had to throw that
um,
part in there.
Yeah, they call me Miss Gabby, but y'all look a little, y'all, I don't know, y'all might be a little young. You can call me Miss Gabby if you want to.
Yes.
Um,
So, Gabby, tell us about yourself first. Like, tell us, who you are, and what was your inspiration for starting Black Girl Tribe?
okay, I am just a black girl so thriving through this world like everybody else. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C. My father is from Venezuela. My mom is black. So I live in a lot of different intersections being a black girl, being, Latinx, Afro Latina, being, cisgender, all these different things. But at the stop sign holding up the intersections for everybody else is being a black girl. So that's really where Tribe came from. After working for a number of different organizations around the country that were supposed to be centering and supporting Black women and girls, I kind of got tired of pretending to do the work that I knew actually needed to be done. So that's where Tribe was born. And that's teach, reach, inspire, build, and empower for the betterment of Black girls, period. And that's our mission. A lot of times people are a little cut off by our mission because they say, oh, that's so small, but it's actually not. It's a great feat. And it just speaks more to the fact that we didn't want to pick a mission that was centered in negativity, that was
Yeah.
centered
Uh-oh.
and more about us being
Uh-oh.
solution focused.
Yes.
Where I feel like a lot of organizations, and there's no shade, people do great work, but if there is no cost, there's no cost for them to do the things. Where Black girls are always going to be on this earth, and the need to make sure that that Black girlhood is better is always going to be something that we can work towards, and not just other Black girls, but like we say, our village. You know what I mean? We have our tribe, and that's Black women and
Yes.
girls, but we also have our village that supports us because similar to Black Americans getting freedom in this country, we cannot do that with ourselves. We have to have men, white people, indigenous people, everybody everybody coming to this table and saying that, all right, we've taken a lot and we have benefited from Black women for a long time. So let's start, providing space for Black girls who become those Black women that are champions of the world to be resourced properly, to be supported, to be cared for, to be protected. A lot of things that we talk about specifically in Tribe with our girls is empowerment. But what we realize is we can't just tell the girls to be empowered in a world that is focused on depowering them, or making them feel, powerless. And so that means that we also have to advocate and change the world. That means that we have to do technical education with schools and institutions that interact with Black girls, because we can say, believe in yourself, be great all day. But if they have to go to school with 45 other adults, who are telling them the opposite of that, it's going to be, an adverse reaction a lot of times, if that makes any sense. And so we try to focus on making sure that we, give people resources and grace to be better to Black girls.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Wow. That you said a lot, but I'm going to try and unpack some of that so our audience can break it down and get a better feel for what Tribe is and what we can do to support Black girl empowerment. I saw that on your website, Black girl empowerment. So Tribe stands for, like you said, teach, reach, inspire, build, and empower. And these are all words that we have heard before, like you said. But what does that look like for Tribe if I were to plug my daughter, my two granddaughters into your program? What does that look like on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis? How is that done through Tribe?
So it looks absolutely different now in COVID, obviously, because before we were definitely more, we had at least one in-person program a month when when the world was open, as people like to say. And we're moving back to that now with, the population being vaccinated, opening up and things like that. However, we've still stayed viable and a resource for our girls through this COVID era. From the first week of the quarantine, we were going live on Facebook and Instagram, providing, programs virtually, from yoga to esthetician classes to mindfulness and identity. So all those different things. Also to just recreate that virtual affinity space that we create in person for Black girls, we have the Sesh. So the Sesh meets every second Tuesday of the month, and the topics vary. Last month, we talked about bullying, and we had 2 different sessions. So we understand that, again, the conversation amongst Black girls is different intergenerationally as well. So we have our baby girl group where that's 6 to 12, and then we have our bigger girl group that's 12 to 18. So the 6 to 12-year-olds, they had a child author who's wrote a book called Being Addie's Friend, about being a child with auditory issues or things like that she had to overcome, and just being bullied. So she's 10 years old. This bullying happened when she was 6, and in that time she's become an author, and she's written this book and she's published it and turned her pain into purpose. And so we really like to model that for our girls. So we invited her. She came. She talked about the book, what inspired her, and we bought a copy of all her books, and she signed them, and we're sending them to all the girls that participated. So again, it's a full circle conversation of this is how you deal with bullying. And then we also talked about identifying whether or not you possibly could be somebody's bully as well, right? Because that's something that we don't always think about or factor. And then we also had a deeper conversation about the adultification and, things like that comes with being a Black girl, because sometimes people assume that we're bullies and we're not. And that's what we're talking about, Ma'Khia Bryant, in those situations where, people villainize this little Black girl before even understanding the entire story. And then even now they're so comfortable with that narrative, they have done nothing to, reconcile for the miseducation of that situation, right? So all of that folds into what we do every day. Our social media, making sure that we're putting out messages that are, 1, Black girl focused, and 2, that are actually effective. We put out education about Pride specifically this month, because if people don't know, Pride was started by a Black woman. And we try to, make sure that we are inclusive of all Black girls and expand the issues of all Black girls, even to other Black girls who might not be aware of those things. So it's we educate our village and our tribe at the same time, but we try to make sure that we do it in a way that is holistically healthy for everybody and very honest. Even the situation in Palestine, we've covered that for our girls because a lot of things happen. I'm so sorry. A lot of things happen around Black girls, but necessarily we're not always, in tune with what's actually happening and understanding the politics behind it. Because if we're talking about Palestine and Israel, people are like, well, how does that have to deal with Black girls? Peace in the Middle East has been something that I've been hearing my entire life, right? And I never really understood the situation, or maybe I was miseducated too about what the reality of that situation was. And that was because people thought I was a young Black girl and those things had nothing to do with me. But Black girls are global citizens. So international affairs like that are important to us. And we do need to know about them to be able to talk about them. We don't know what room we might walk into, and we need that working knowledge. So we try to make those things palpable for our girls every day and help them process the news and have these conversations, in a constructive way about how it's affecting them and what's going on here in their world. We just had our partnership with Nike. We're launching our Black Girls Do It program, where we are leveling the playing field for Black girls playing sports and just getting active all together. Black girls hike. Black girls do yoga. Black girls do all types of things to be active. And a lot more of us could be doing it and benefiting it from it if we knew that we were already out there doing it. So I invite everybody. We're having events in DC and in LA, absolutely free, to come out and, just get active and try the things. Because that's the thing. There's no level. There's no equipment needed, anything. We're providing it all because we just want to give Black girls and women ages 0 to 100 the opportunity to be in community with each other in physical space, doing something for our physical health that will still impact our mental and holistic health as well. And then specifically in giving, when I was just speaking on another live about the Double Dutch event, people wonder like, why was Double Dutch the first event that we did? And they're like, that's not a sport. And I'm like, it absolutely is. It's an Olympic sport. It's an Olympic sport, right? And Asians dominated culturally. We know that globally, like that's usually, but that started in Africa and we've been doing it. And it's such a good analogy for what it means to be a Black girl because, you got two ropes coming at you from both sides and there you are dancing in the middle, shining, doing tricks, thriving. Essentially what our life is like. It's always stuff coming at us at both sides, but here we are thriving and looking good while we're doing it to the rhythm.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yes, I do. Double dutching through life. I'm telling you, always got something up in the air and moving fast, but with style and elegance and grace. Yes. Style, elegance, and grace. Now you had mentioned the age span and you said from 0 to 100. So when you say Black Girl Tribe, you really are talking about Black girls as a whole.
When the Black girls stop being Black girls, I could walk up to an 85-year-old Black woman right now and be like, all the Black girls in the room, and she's going to get up and come. Because essentially, when we're talking about Black girl magic, you don't hear people say Black woman magic. We talk about Black girl magic because Black women and girls, no matter what age, we always have this like youthful spirit about us, this hopeful spirit. So I don't think it's offensive to call, grown women girls, because then that would us be saying that being a Black girl is somehow negative at any point in life, and it's not, or demeaning somehow.
Yeah, there's always a little girl inside of us anyway. Always.
Yes. You know what I mean? And that's and I think that's what really sustains the magic is that hopeful little girl in all of us, the creative, the one that makes things happen and pulls stuff out of nowhere and makes a dollar stretch, a dime, all those different things come from that youthful creativity that we as a demographic has somehow managed to maintain through every other ism, racism, sexism, tokenism, all these things that come at us, right? And we still maintain that youthful ability. That's the real magic of us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Lisa?
I have lots of questions. I was looking at your website about the Ruby Bridges literacy program, and that speaks to my heart because I love little girl. Of course, as an author, I want people to read all the time. But as a child, reading,
I would show you the mess around me. I'm literally surrounded by Black girl books. So Ruby Bridges is literally one of my favorite programs that we've ever done. Growing up as a little girl, my mom made me watch and learn about Ruby Bridges so much. And a certain amount of time after school was dedicated to studying.
She has 2 dogs. And they are
Okay, and
delicious.
they obviously
I'm
love to
sorry,
be
it's my dogs
interviewed.
and people are walking
Yes,
around
they
my house and they're
do.
just losing their mind. But Ruby Bridges literally came from just my mom making me do something called Ruby Time, which was like a time where I had to read a book that she wanted me to read. A lot of times it was like The Color Purple, The Wake in the Wind, things that I didn't, that as a kid, I was like, what the hell is this? But now as an adult, I appreciate the lexicon.
Yes.
But you know, Ruby Bridges now, what I realized was that what my mom was doing was trying to inspire me to read by giving me books where they were about Black women, exposed me to Toni Morrison, exposed me to Alice Walker, to J. California Cooper, to Octavia Butler, you know what I mean? All those different women. My mom is a screenwriter. So understanding the power of words and reading was so instrumental in my life. I learned to read when I was 3 years old, reading Ebony and Jet magazines. And I realized that when I was working with the girls, I didn't see them excited about books like I used to be. Like the Riff Fair used to come, and that was like one of the best times, you know, in school during those times. But they don't have that, and they don't have the opportunity to get to bookshop. How often are parents going to Barnes and Nobles and Borders and things like that, right? And so that's where Ruby Bridges came in, where we literally created this Amazon list. We curated it with the help of our girls, and we said, what Black girl books do you want to read? So of course, there's plenty of Blood and Bone and all those different that series, and you know, they love all that kind of stuff. But even, you know, Afrofuturism, like Marvel has a Black girl character now, you know, and so we add all those things to the list. And our village sent us those books, and so now on our website, the girls can literally send us the email, and we send them. They tell us how old they are, what they're interested in, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and we pick a book for them and we send it off. So it's just that easy. And, you know, in the form that we send, it's a little form and it says, you know, once you're done with this story, you know, even though you know the story is still viable, pass this book along to another Black girl. Don't throw it away. Don't let it get destroyed, all those kind of things. And we ask them to write us reviews. We ask them to, you know, to give us those different things because, again, their opinion is valid about, you know, how the things that they're reading. And when they have that kind of autonomy over their reading, it is so powerful. When we were in person, we had an opportunity to have a few book clubs. We went to the different libraries around the area, and we had like mentorship readings. So our Ruby readers, we started girls from 3 years old could come. So our Ruby readers are 3 to 5, and they were read to by our elementary school girls. Our elementary school girls were read to by our middle school girls, and our middle school girls were read to by our high school girls. So it gave our high schoolers the opportunity to get volunteer hours. It instilled reciprocity, sisterhood, all those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? And then it also taught these girls to be empowered by this 6-year-old Black girl who integrated schools in the South, right? At kindergarten, during the time when you learn to read. So she's learning to read and we're walking through a crowd of hundreds of white people holding up little Black baby dolls with nooses and things like that. So if she can do that and still master this, you know, this amazing gift that is, you know, out here for everybody, we can do that same thing from the comfort of your home with this free book.
Yes.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I do too. The whole
That resonates so much with me, Siera, because when I was a little girl, all I wanted to do was read all the time. You catch me up in a tree reading. Every summer, there was at our local library, there was a summer reading program. I was a big old nerd. I had to read. And that's what I did. It saved my life.
It will save your life. You know, my mom used to tell me that all the time, like, lose yourself in the book. You know, if you don't want to be somewhere, you can lose yourself in the book. And I don't think enough people have that, you know, because those programs like RIF and things like that are not in the schools anymore. You know, there's not reading lunch buddies programs like there used to be back in the day. So we do need to do that extra supplementary thing. And even though these kids read, they can read. The literacy skills are there. They can read Instagram. They can read these video games. Like they also need to learn some culture and context and learn to have an imagination that they have for themselves and not one that is digitally created, right? So that's also what we're trying to instill in them, that old school ability to think and imagine a place that it seems like the youth of today are kind of missing.
Yeah. And I love a lot about what you said, you know, just thinking through this program and how dynamic it is, even with the Ruby Bridges program. Like, I love that not only are you teaching the kids, you know, reinforcing literacy, but you're using a historical figure like Ruby Bridges, you know, like you said, the first woman to integrate, you know, schools in the South, So you're imparting history, literacy, but you're also building a bridge between the age groups where each one is teaching one, like the grade above is teaching the grade, junior to them, and so forth and so on. And I think in this age group, Lisa and I are over 50. I don't know about you ladies, but we learn how important it is to really connect with other women, positive women who are going to encourage you, like you said, empower you, feed into your life, into your spirit, and make those connections across your lifespan. Like there are so many women that, yes, they have other women around them, but that doesn't mean they're a positive influence. And that's what I love about the program.
And even to expose the girls to the art of writing for Black women and the fact that it's not new for Black women to be authors or writers.
Right.
Sojourner Truth. You know what I'm saying? Sojourner Truth was an author. We have so many even enslaved women, like given the opportunity, like when we're talking about music and the things and traditions and stuff like that have been passed down, they're oral traditions, but given the opportunity to write, it probably would have been a book, right? And a good one at that. Juicy, salacious, given the opportunity, right? We didn't get that opportunity. So I really do want the girls to understand the power in writing their story. At our formation conference, which is our Black Girls Empowerment Conference annually that we host, this year we had this, I'm sorry, not this year, what is time? 2019. We had a workshop about being a self-published author, but even more so in depth because like I issued the author that came a challenge and I said, teach them how to self-publish themselves. And she was like, what does that mean? I was like, I want you to teach them how to make a book. And she was like, okay. And literally we collected cardboard and cardstock paper and these girls made their own books of affirmations. And it was just something simple as that to say that, yeah, I can explain to you the self-publishing process, but let's take it to as grassroots as possible. You know what I mean? So that there's literally no excuse for you to say that your book does not need to exist, even if you have to physically make it manifest with your own hands, like get that done because your story is worthy. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I feel that with the stories that are presented in schools, it's always about somebody other than us that has like no commonality to us. So sometimes I know it can feel like, well, if there's no stories written about me, maybe nobody wants them. And that's not the truth, right?
Yes.
So we explain to them that they're filling that gap, for narratives and speaking for all of our ancestors that never got the opportunity to tell their story. It's so empowering.
Yes.
It's very empowering.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes.
Lisa? And the fact that you have the kids actually seeing Black authors, and when I was growing up, I remember seeing, you might have had one or two Black authors that you knew of.
That's
and
right.
They were so unattainable, but you're actually having workshops where they see authors right there in front of them. And it's so important for them to see that and say, hey, if she can do that, then I can do it. So what your work is awesome, and I'm loving that.
Yes, and what I try to talk to them about too is intellectual property, making sure that because that's something that we need to catch up on. We as Black women stop telling our story without getting paid for it a lot of times.
Right.
Because like the example I try to use is the woman who wrote The Matrix. And, just like not being legally, protected and taking that investment in her writing. And she's sending her stuff all to the Wachowski brothers for years, thinking that they're not paying her any attention. It wasn't until 15 years later that she saw The Matrix and realized she wrote that whole thing, right? And yeah, they had to pay her back royalties, all that kind of stuff. But how The Matrix is already done, right? Like it's already playing into the world and society. How important it would have been in 2001 when that movie came out for people to know that there was a Black woman at the lead of futurism, right? Like people still say we're in the Matrix now. Like it's still part of cultural, American culture. And that is from a Black woman author, you know what I mean? Who literally didn't think she was worthy because people weren't acknowledging her. And, I'm super excited I don't know if Jasmine's ever told you guys, but we're also about to launch the Black Book Publishing Company, where essentially this is exactly what we're trying to do. We want to provide a publishing house for Black women and girls to publish their stories and not get got. You know, being Ashanti's friend, this entire time I've been privy to her process of dealing with publishers and, you know, people just like really just trying to usurp her narrative and, you know, not, you know, keep her talents, you know, or enhance her talents the way that they need to be, or trying to make them more culturally, you know, acceptable on that side, and not really thinking about like, this is just how this needs to be written because this is how Black people talk and this is how we want to do it, you know? So I want to be the publishing house that Zora Neale Hurston would have wanted to come to, right? Where she would have had no issues about people editing out her words or her using, you know, African, you know, language and things like that. So that's, you know, something we're excited about. And to be able to give the girls a direct resource, you know, because they have amazing stories. That's the one thing I've learned about in this whole time of doing Tribe. Everything I thought I knew about Black girls, there's so much more to learn. And there's so many more experiences to account for. And all of that can be done in books.
It's awesome. And I do know, I saw on your website where our readers can donate books on Amazon.
Yes, they can. They can go onto our Amazon list and send us some books. We love getting them. We honestly have a waiting list longer than the books that we have available. We have a lot of little girls that want books, but we actually don't, you know, we don't get as many as that we need to send out. So it's really amazing. Because a lot of times I think they don't think it's real. They're like, you're just going to send me a free book. I don't have to do anything. And it's like a book about a Black girl, a book that looked like me, you know, and it's like, yeah, like this is what we're doing. And it's a unique thing, but it's growing, you know, in a great way. Yes. But we love more resources. And even specifically if authors want to work with us and, you know, talk to our girls and share their process, you know, even our author in progress would even be awesome to speak to, because I think a lot of times we talk about or we celebrate the end of the journey and we don't really process, you know, the process of getting there. And that's something that we definitely need to be more transparent with our youth about, because we always talk about, I did it, but how? You know?
Yes. Yes. And the interesting thing is there are a lot of ways to get there when you talk about getting your book to the market. And I can't say one way is better than the other. It's just different. It depends on what fits your life. So I think it is important. I'm glad that you had, you know, an independent published author come there, but you also have Ashanti who is traditionally published. But, you know, you need to see both.
Exactly. You know? Because there's no, just like there's no monolithic one way to be a Black girl, there's no one way to be a Black author.
Right. Amen. Amen. There is no one way to be a Black girl. That is so true. That is so true. So tell us, and I know we've covered a lot of ground in a little bit of time, so I'm so glad that you came on, because Ashanti's right. She's like, you can speak Tribe all day, and I can tell, I can feel your energy like flowing through the screen. But tell us, as the world opens back up, what is next? What events do you all have coming, whether they're, you know, virtual or in person? That's my first question.
So we have our Black Girls Just Do It events, where we have our Double Dutch event happening at Anacostia Park on June 11th. Come out. Okay. We're teaching everybody, even if you never double dutch, you will learn that day. And I've never double dutch, so this is going to be an experience.
Really?
I'm always a turner. I'm not a jumper. So I've been challenged to learn to jump this time. So I'm excited about that.
You go ahead. I've never double dutched well.
We've seen it, but we've not been in it. It's a very unique experience. We're doing Double Dutch on Friday. Saturday, we're going to do yoga in LA and in Maryland. And then on Sunday, we're doing a hike through Rock Creek Park. All of these activities are absolutely free. And then in July, we'll probably do some more sport clinics. We're just trying to fill out the summer to see, you know, are we going back into quarantine? Is this going to go backwards kind of thing? Because first and foremost, health is, you know, something that we're always concerned about. And we've learned to be pretty effective virtually. So we're not really, you know, we love to be in person, but we're not really like concerned about not being effective. It's just more that we would rather not be selfish, just say, come to this event and be unhealthy. You know, we just want to make the best choices for our village, as you know, because the youth coming in might not be of the inoculation age, but they have to go back and be with family members who, you know, are more susceptible. And so we just don't want to put anybody in danger. So as of right now, just those outside events are planned, but coming soon, we'll have more information in the winter months, just pending, if people keep washing their hands.
Yes. Hand sanitizer.
Yes.
Listen,
Okay.
have it.
Now, I actually live in Alexandria, Virginia, so I'm pretty close, and I have Black Girl tribes, kind of scrolling across the screen.
Yes.
So, yes. Now, when the world opens back up, is there a time where, a specific building where y'all meet in person, or is the program mobile? I've heard you mention DC and LA a couple of times, but.
So that's the model. We try to go where our girls are. We try to go where we need to be, where we need to be served. And that's everywhere. Black girls are everywhere. So we have events in Annapolis. We have events in Virginia. We have events everywhere. And with plans to expand even more. And we even have girls come in from every other place as well. And I think that just speaks to the fact that our programming is very unique in the way that we are very unapologetic about our dedication to Black girls and creating Black girl affinity spaces with Black women running the scene and being on staff and all those kind of things. Yes. And it really will draw people, and people will come, from a lot of different places. We've had a mom, we had a family drive their daughter up from Miami, Florida in a truck, okay, to bring her to one of our conferences, just because they acknowledged that the uniqueness of our event was once in a lifetime, for in that moment. And that's really the best part about Tribe, is just to see how it grows and expands and to see where people come from. And, it's exciting to see family members make that investment in their girls as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Lisa, any final questions?
Final question. The purple book on your website, that intrigued me. Tell me just really quick about that.
I know I love so I don't know if you know yet, but I love Black history. I love being Black. I love everything about us. I love, and I say Black specifically, meaning Black African Americans of the diaspora, Africans of the diaspora, everywhere that they took us, we have just made it so wonderful and spicy, and it's amazing. And so the Purple Book is a play on the Green Book. So traditionally, if people don't know, the Green Book was a book that listed out, was a directory of businesses that would serve African Americans during that time when, people were traveling by car. The Green Book Motorist Guide was what it was called formerly. Yes. So our spin is called the Purple Book, and we are designing it to highlight Black women and girl-owned businesses. And just taking it to that next level, because there's really nothing that exists like that. We can Google Black girl-owned business, but we just want a directory. So sis selling bonnets, we want 50,000 people selling bonnets, but we just want to know that we got the option. If somebody's selling shea butter, we want 50,000 options for shea butter, but we just want to be able to know and shout you out and say, hey, this Black girl is doing it and doing this business. Because that's really what makes the difference in small businesses succeeding is, people promoting it and having opportunity and access for people to know that it even exists, right? A lot of things shut down before people even knew somebody, got good at it and started. So that is really what the Purple Book, and we're putting it out next year. We're going to have to put it out because we didn't get as many entries as we wanted to for this year, but we want to put it out on Madam C.J. Walker's birthday because I think she's just the epitome. That's why we picked the May 27th date, because she's the epitome of Black girl business owners. I think that, she made her way out of nothing, specifically being a brown-skinned woman in that time when, even if you were a Black woman in business, there's that whole colorism fact. So the fact that she was still out here doing aesthetics in Black beauty and being a face for Black beauty, being a big Black woman, I can't help but stand.
Awesome. Yes. And now, is that going to be like a book, or is it online?
So it'll be a virtual directory. I'm getting the side eye because I know one of my board members is like, no, we're going to sell it. I just wanted it to be a free service, just somewhere so that if people, we hear a lot of people say buy Black, but then you get these companies that design this really nice Afrocentric seeming websites, but they're actually not Black owned. So that's where we wanted to do that next level of certifying the fact that they actually are a Black owned business. Doing, consumer, conscious consumerism and just making sure that we're putting our money where we need to.
All right. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. So this is my last question. I know we've gone over time a little bit, but for all the Black girls out there that want to plug in and support Black Girl Tribe, how would we do that? What do we
Tap
need to
into
do?
this if you go to the website and there's a program that is calling to you, there's somewhere at the bottom of that page that tells you how you can plug in. Whether it's submitting a letter, we have Hey Sis Hey, which is our monthly inspirational letter that comes out. You can sign up to submit a letter that'll go out to all the Black girls across the country, or you can just say that you need one, and it comes out the top of the month, and it just gives you some inspiration. That's something small that you can get involved in. Follow us on Instagram, all the way to pulling up to an event and coming and get active with us and just doing it with us at the Double Dutch event. We want Black girls to do what, for us to serve them in whatever way they need us to serve them. If it's just inspiration, we got you. But if you need hands-on help, we got you on that too. And so that's really where we try to, teach, reach, build, and inspire, empower, and to make sure that, everybody might not need the teach part, but they might need the empower part. Everybody might not need the reach part, but they need the inspire part. And so again, not being monolithic, we just try to serve where, our girls let us know they need us.
Wow. Awesome having you on the show. I hope you will come back, especially when you get your events up and rolling, so you can share that with our audience. So I do want to thank you for joining us tonight, Gabrielle. I want to thank Shanti for setting this up, for mentioning Black Girl Tribe. It has been a pleasure having you on the show, and I do look forward to connecting with you.
Yes,
everybody,
bring those babies to the Double Dutch.
Yes. Oh my goodness. My grandkids. Lord have mercy. Yeah. Please don't throw grandmama down with your Double
Listen,
Dutch.
just bring them. We'll have fun. They'll be fine. I promise.
All right, ladies.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
ladies.
so much for joining us. Hang here on the line for a minute. All right, audience, we will see you all next Thursday. Until then, follow us on Women of Words on the Facebook page. Okay, we're also on Instagram and Twitter, so be sure to follow us. And we'll see you back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, be amazing, be wow. Have a great night.
Bye.
And that's all for now.